Welcome to Into Heals University, the Science and Soul podcast, where we cut through the noise and simplify self-healing. Because knowledge empowers, but action transforms. This is your roadmap to self-healing, giving you the tools to navigate your journey, take control, and create real change in your life. Welcome to Into Heals University podcast. My name is Denise, and I'll be your host for navigating the world of self-healing. I've been helping patients in chronic pain for over 30 years. I'm a kinesiologist, a registered massage therapist, and a manual osteopath. But I'm also a patient. I had to navigate the confusing world of self-healing for many, many years, which is why I've created the Into Heals University, a website where you can find free resources for your self-healing journey. But for today, we're going to jump right into the deep end so you can take action and either begin your journey, continue your journey, expand your journey, or maybe find a little bit of inspiration in what do I need to do next? Where do I start? When I was young, back in the 80s and 90s, I am very outdating myself. There was no Google, no YouTube. You did what the doctor told you to do, period. Medication was usually always the answer. And the idea that the body could heal itself, well, you weren't allowed to take control. But now, the pendulum is starting to swing the other way. Most people are accepting of self-healing, diving into self-healing. It's actually become a bit of a buzzword, and we're drowning in information. Too many choices is not a good thing. It leads to decision paralysis. So I'm here to hopefully make things a little bit simpler for you, but it means one thing. You've got to stop getting in your body's way. Your body is designed to self-heal and self-regulate, but sometimes that leaves more questions than answers. So where do I start? What do I do? What is the most important thing? You can't make 100 lifestyle changes all at once. And I've been there. I know what it's like. When you're in the drowns of it all, you can feel very overwhelmed and even a little bit just set your nervous system off. Tiny little choices, tiny little changes at a time. It is one step at a time. This is why I created the university. It's a place where the public can understand the simplicity of self-healing and digest complex concepts into bite-sized tasks that are individual for you as an individual person. For me, the answer came after a near-death experience around 10 years ago. And I received the knowledge I needed to really complete my self-healing journey. And I followed this message to the letter of the law. And for the first time in my 50 years, I get it. And that's what I'm here to share with you today and moving forward. And it starts with, where do you start? So let's dive right in. When I hit my rock bottom, I was in the depths of a high conflict divorce, battling breast cancer, trying to make sure my autoimmune disorder didn't come back, and I was in pain. I had my chest cut open. Arthritis was taking over my joints. Grief was like my skin was burnt inside and out. Meditate? Yeah, right. No, that wasn't going to happen. My mind was a bag of spaghetti that just wouldn't stop slushing inside. I tried meditation, but all I could do was sleep through it, and it was just getting through the day. But it was the day that I left my body, I got to experience true peace. Peace from the pain. Mental, emotional, physical pain. And all of the responsibilities that go with it. I just had my chest muscles sewn together, and breathing was so hard. One minute I was lying in bed wondering just how much more pain I could take, and the next I was gone. In an instant, I was just floating in peace. I now call it the void. It was the only word that I could even come up with. I could use the word oneness. I'm not sure it does it justice, but that's kind of like how it felt. But while I was there, I felt like I could lie there forever. Like I was just floating in perfection would be the best word. Maybe I'm a perfectionist and that's why that's coming, but it felt really good. My time there was short, but it was impactful. I could feel a presence around me, but I saw nothing. And I was okay with that. It was dark, I found it very strange how I could be just okay in the dark, but it felt better than I think I'd ever felt in my life. And then I had a thought. I wonder what's over there. And the moment that happened, I could just feel myself moving. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what was happening. And I realized I was being pulled back into my body. And it was like, no, I could just feel myself saying it, screaming it. But it was just like, no. And right away, it's not your time. And that wasn't a voice. It wasn't like I could see or hear somebody. It was almost like the message just came through me. And it was almost like there was a set of hands pushing me down, resisting me wanting to stay. I flew up into that void in an instant. But that first thought of wanting to look around, gone. And then once I got back, I could feel it getting denser and denser and denser, like I was being pushed into a dense fog into the world. The moment I landed back in my body, the pain all returned. It was all there. The pain in my chest, my emotional ache, my mental turmoil of a life just completely turned upside down. And I was angry, really angry. But I did receive help. As the years passed and I followed the messages that came to me, I began to recover. And as I did, the years of confusion began to lift. Now, I'd like to preface this with, I'm a science nerd. I love learning about the body's physiology and any new research that I can get my hands on to help my practice and my patients and myself. So I knew a lot about chronic pain and stress, but I hadn't really applied all the right principles to fully heal my body. There's so much science in healing. It is absolutely overwhelming. Knowing where to start is literally impossible. How do you know what direction to go in? Now, I did find an answer, which is in a self-assessment. As a therapist, we're taught how to create treatment plans. We ask a ton of questions. We perform our tests. We are trying to figure out what's happening with your body, what's happening with the tissues. What do you want? What do you need? And then we have to decide, how can we manipulate those tissues to get the results we want and get you into better health? I'm an instructor in the Faculty of Massage Therapy at a college here in Calgary, and I began teaching my students something I call MEPS. It's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. It's a framework to help them get a clear picture of their client's overall health. But why do I do this? It's not just about mind, body, spirit. It's actually a little more in depth than that, because I also teach them something called the 80-20 rule. And what that is you have to know what's going on their whole body. Where's the worst pain? So let's say the upper right shoulder fascia and trigger points are creating an 8 out of 10. And the left hamstring is a 2 out of 10. Then the shoulder is going to feel high. It's going to be a lot more painful than, say, the hamstring. But if you spend all your time on the hamstring because you're not comfortable, say, working on the shoulder and the neck, then you'll bring the hamstring down, but the shoulder's still an 8 out of 2. If you are feeling like the shoulder was a 6 out of 10 before, now it's going to feel like an 8 out of 10. So they'll walk away saying, hey, that therapist made me feel worse. They didn't help me at all. In fact, it's worse now. The brain is always looking for the worst area because it's looking for, it's very calculated in what it needs to do. And if one area needs more attention, it's going to say, hey, right? So you could have a brutal shoulder pain, completely have let's say a frozen shoulder, but then all of a sudden you break your leg. You don't even care about your shoulder anymore. The brain's going to prioritize what the problem is. And if you're working on an area that doesn't really need to get worked on, it's not that it's not going to hurt it at all. It's great for you, but they may experience more pain. So I teach my students how to always find the area that needs to get worked on first. So we do this by pain scale, which area is the worst. Then we do it by palpation. So now what we're looking for is what tissues are the tightest. And then we look at blood flow. Okay, if the blood can't get into that area, it can't heal. So these are the concepts that I teach my students. So what I also do is say, hey, the same thing goes for your client's overall health. If their emotions are really in pain, their mental state is super in pain, then that can actually delay healing. The muscles won't let go. And then we're actually increasing stress to the body. So I give them a road. Creating treatment plans can be very challenging. There are a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration. And we as therapists are only with you as a patient for an hour and a half, maybe. We're going to do a little bit of work on you. The rest is up to you. And depending on what's going on with your nervous system, what's going on with your immune system, what's going on with your thoughts, your emotional makeup, underlying conditions, everything else, that's going to dictate the healing. It's not really about the therapist. Sure, they can do really great work, but it all comes down to the patient. So we as therapists have to know really what's going on with that whole person. So when you say mind, body, soul, well, I don't like saying mind, body, soul like it's separate. It's actually one system, and then your mental thoughts, your emotions, the physical, neurological sensations that you get, and your perceptions of the world all get blended into this one system. So it's a system. So we think that healing is, mind, body, soul, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. In reality, there's another system going on that they use. And we're going to talk about that. And I go into a lot of that in the university. And I also will be talking about that in further podcasts. For today, we want to talk about MEPS. It's more than a tagline. It's a way of life. It helps you see the connections between these thought patterns of emotion and physical and spiritual well-being. It gives you the tools to heal and grow in a way that feels authentic and sustainable. So my intent is to bridge that gap between science and intuition, science and soul, however you want to call it, to help you decide what is your body trying to communicate with you. Because healing isn't just about addressing the symptoms, it's about understanding the deeper causes, the root cause of pain, and getting over that feeling of being stuck. So in this first podcast, I wanted to jump into the deep end of the pool, so to speak, so that you can leave knowing how to analyze your MEPS, understand why you need to analyze it, and use it in the next step. So healing can start today. Even if you've been doing a ton of self-healing, even if you're a healing guru, it doesn't matter who you are. This process is used as a standard across the board. It could just be a simple reminder of, oh, well, I guess I kind of didn't really think of it that way. But it can also be, well, I really didn't know where to start. Now I know where to start. So that's where we're at. Self-healing is a slow process. And so you're probably already everybody is in self-healing. But how aware are you of where your self-healing is at? Some people are like, what do you mean self-healing? No, the doctor gives me a pill and off I go. That's zero self-awareness. And then some people are saying, no, I'm a yogi master. I align all of my chakras and I know exactly what I'm doing. Great. You can still benefit from this. So it's a little bit trial and error, and there's room for exploration and discovery. The key is the deep desire to take control of your journey and realizing that healing begins with a commitment. So you kind of got to sign on the dotted line and make an agreement with yourself. So what I'd like you to do is repeat after me. You're going to say something, you're going to say it out loud. I have a huge desire to change, to grow, and to take ownership of my well-being. This is really important, so bear with me. I want you to say it out loud. How does it feel to you? I have a huge desire to change, to grow, and to take ownership of my well-being. Does it resonate with you? Does it feel like, yeah, that's what I've always been doing? Or are you a little nervous? Do you feel a little anxious? Because if you do, that's completely normal. I'll explain that in a later podcast. But it is normal when you start self-healing for anxiety to come to the surface. because the fear of the unknown, the fear of what's going on is creating all kinds of unwanted fear, but it's completely normal. So don't worry about it. Doubt is normal. You may doubt if it's even possible. You may not believe it. Everything has been so bad. You are going to logic your way out of it. That is normal. So I want you to take a deep breath. You can do it. Will it be simple? Maybe not. Will it be fast and easy? Sometimes not. But it will happen. There are no $5,000 programs that are going to transform you in a weekend. The body doesn't change that fast. There is no easy pill. But here's the good thing. Once you start feeling better, that's all that matters. That you're making progress each day. A little bit each day goes a long way. So where do you start? Well, it can kind of look like a massive goal without a clear path forward. Because there is no pre-marked yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. That doesn't work in healing. The path is there, but it's invisible, which is why I created the MEPS assessment. So it's like having a compass to tell you which direction is best. Do I go north? Do I go west? Do I go south? Do I go east? This is your guide. Then when you feel lost, overwhelmed, or stuck, you can always come back. It's like grabbing your phone, hitting into your phone your directions and saying, what direction do I got to go in? Then you can stop and refocus. And you're going to follow it. Now, once you get on that path, little things are going to kind of come in your way. And this is where you use your intuition. We are going to talk a lot about intuition. How do you develop your intuition? How do you trust your intuition? There is so much stuff out there that doesn't work, but we're going to be talking about what does work. We'll do that in the next podcast. So in this podcast, it's really just about introducing myself. What's my intent? What are these podcasts going to look like? Where am I going with this? So I can't stress enough that the importance of just saying, yes, I want to do this. This is going to sound a little crazy and controversial, but there's a part of you that won't believe it's true. Your nervous system is wired to worry and to be on the lookout for danger, especially danger that you've dealt with for years and years and years. Allow me to explain. I offer a treatment in my clinic where I use a combination of massage and osteopathic cupping and shockwave therapy. Now, shockwave is not zapping your brain. It's just a machine that breaks down really dense scar tissue. But it's like getting 100 massages in one. It's fast. It's so fast that when the pain goes away, my clients come back saying, what a weird feeling. And I know this because it happened to me too when I first started having these treatments. And it was all by trial and error because when I first started using shockwave, nobody was using it. There was no education. It was 20 years ago. And they just give you this machine and say, here you go. It was a $15,000 machine, but the company who makes it also makes the $100,000 medical machine. So they didn't really care about a $10,000 machine. But to me, that was a lot of money. Took us a while to figure this machine out. They have great courses out there now for it. It's wonderful for therapists. But when we first started using it, the pain would go away so fast, especially the chronic pain, those aches that have been with you forever that are just getting worse. And your brain would almost go, well, where is it? Where did it go? Because it's not grief or a loss. I wouldn't explain it like that, but it kind of works like that. Like, well, what just happened? It's got to come back. This can't be happening, right? It doesn't understand it. The logic doesn't make sense. And so even if you want something really badly, you're like, hey, I can do this. I know I can do this. I've got this goal. I'm going. There's going to be that part of your nervous system that's not going to believe it. So belief is a funny thing. So it's really important that you make the commitment because part of you won't believe it's possible, and that's okay. In time, as you see the results, it will get easier and easier. This is why these fast $5,000 weekend courses do not work, because they could give you the key to Atlantis and you could walk through the whole place and come out and go, yeah, I don't even believe that really happened. That's too crazy. There's no way. You need repetition for the brain to accept it. So I offer a free course in the Into Heals University. And the reason why I offer it for free is because I understand how long it takes to get this healing done. And I understand that it can take a long time for the brain to really lock in these new beliefs and these new pathways. In the meantime, there's a lot of things that you can do that will help healing today. We will be offering you a lot of different resources. We'll be bringing a lot of guests. I have so many colleagues that are so excited to jump on this podcast and help you guys out. So I hope you were able to gather something out of this. No, we did not jump into the MEPS assessment today because that would be a little too much. We're going to jump into podcast too. So your homework for today is to just say, yes, I want to heal, grow, and expand my world. And if you're serious about this, take one small step today. Whether it's journaling, meditating, breathing with intention, or just jumping into the next podcast. And then if you're loving this, just be sure to hit subscribe. Don't miss the next episode where we dive into MEPS, and that's where the real key starts. I'll see you there.